All right, thank you.
Okay. Uh, are you going to engage your screen share?
Yes, I am. I'm engaging my screen share.
Okay, great. Now, when you're ready to begin, say start simulation. As soon as you see the avatars appear on your screen, your scenario will have begun. Uh, Good luck, and remember that this is a training simulation, so it's a great opportunity for you to take risks and to stretch yourself.
Thank you, Nina. I will do that. All right, start simulation.
Hey, 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 what's going on?
Hello, how is everyone doing today?
Yeah, I'm okay. I'm a little tired, but
Well, that's great. Hey, let me ask you guys. Let me just start by saying it's great to see all of you again. Um, I see. Remind me all your names again.
yeah, my name is Savannah.
Okay,
Hi,
Savannah,
I'm Dev.
Dev,
I'm Ava.
Ava,
Yeah, I'm like Jasmine.
Jasmine. Of course, I remember you. And the last one is Ethan, right?
Yep, right here.
All right, great to see everyone today. How are you, all of you?
I'm okay.
That's great.
Uh,
Now, I have a
yeah.
question. I have a question for you guys. Do you guys like science?
I like science, yeah.
That's
Yeah,
good.
science is okay.
All right, okay. All right. Now, today's lesson, we're going to talk about the states of matter. And yeah, the states of matter. Now, the states of matter are different phases when something takes different shapes or form. And that is when particles are tiny, these tiny little molecules that join together to form a shape, and they change depending on what you do with them, and they change to a new state. There are two kinds of changes: a physical change and a chemical change. A physical change is when it is something that can be reversed to its previous state. Meaning you can take something and turn it into something new, make a new form of it, and then you can change it back to the old form. An example of a physical change is melting ice into water and cutting up cake or cheese into smaller slices. Because even though you're melting ice into water, it's still the same molecules and particles. And if and cake, even though you're cutting cake or cheese into smaller pieces, it's still the same makeup. It's still it nothing changes on the inside. A chemical change is when a substance or an object cannot be reversed to its original state. Examples of that include mixing sodium and chlorine to make table salt and burning firewood until it becomes ashes. Now, who can tell me what is in this picture? Yes, Savannah.
Uh, what?
Who can tell me what is in this picture?
Oh, um, I don't know. I wasn't raising my hand.
Oh, well, is there anyone who would like to raise their hand and answer the question?
Yeah, a bunch of people have their hands raised.
Okay, Dev, can you tell me
Uh,
what you see in this picture?
it looks like water.
Yes, that's right. You see that the solid, that means it's that's an ice cube, and then the liquid is when that ice cube melts and becomes water. And
Yeah.
then once the that water boils, it it becomes a gas, meaning that it evaporates into thin air. Now, the first state of matter is a solid.
I've had my hand raised for a long time.
Okay, who's that? Savannah?
No, it's Ava.
Oh, it's Ava. Right. Ava, did you have something you wanted to say?
Yeah, what are you superstitious of?
Superstitious. That has nothing to do with the topic that I'm trying to teach you guys. We shouldn't
Oh,
focus on anything like that.
well, it's up there, so I see it. I'm just curious, what are you superstitious of?
Well, we shouldn't talk about that. We should talk about the activity that I'm trying to teach you guys. That's
Well,
just a tab.
fine.
I but yes, a solid it is a shape in which um, in which is a state of matter in which the particles come together to build to build a structure and takes the shape that you can hold and touch. For example, when water is poured into an ice tray and frozen overnight, it becomes ice and takes the cubed shape of the tray. Now, this picture right here is a solid, and the molecules form together and they build a specific shape. Are you guys following me?
Yeah, I mean, I'm reading off of the same slide that you're reading off of. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Now the next phase is a liquid. The liquid is a state of matter. Now what happens with liquid is that when we pour something into a container or a box or a cup, the liquid, such as water, it takes the shape of the container, but it has no shape of its own. If you were to pour it out, it wouldn't. It would just pour on the floor or in the sink, and it has no structure of its own. This and when this happens, the particles are moving around, and they're just moving around each other. They don't hold themselves together, as you see in this picture right here. You guys, are you guys with me so far?
Yeah, I mean, I know how water works, so.
Okay, that's good. Um, and now for the third stage, which is gas, the third state of matter. Now, what happens when a liquid becomes a gas? The particles spread out completely, and then the liquid evaporates into thin air. Examples of gas include boiling water in a pot until it empties and becomes nothing, and the water no longer exists. And you see in this picture, the particles are very much spread out all over the place.
That seems like it would take a long time.
Yeah, it seems like it does, but if the thing sometimes that if you have water in a pot on the stove, and you turn the fire high, it'll evaporate quickly.
Oh, okay.
Now the next thing we're going to do is we're going to watch a video that goes into more detail about the states of matter. Are you guys ready?
Well, yeah.
Now I want
Yeah, I
you.
love videos.
Now what I want you guys to do is to watch the video and quietly and pay very close attention to what the information that the video has to share. Can you guys do that?
Yeah, okay.
All right.
Yeah, that sounds fine.
I'm glad to hear that.
Do you know what water, air, and rocks all have in common? They are made of matter. Matter is something that takes up space. Now, you might be wondering why they all look so different if they are made of the same thing. But the truth is that everything around you is made of matter, just in different shapes and forms. Matter is made of tiny particles called atoms. Matter can be grouped into three main states: solid, liquid, or gas. To figure out which state of matter something is in, we need to examine its properties. A property is the way that something is that we can measure. The physical properties we will look at to determine state of matter are shape, mass, and volume. Mass is the amount of matter in an object. Volume is how much space that matter takes up. Solids are easy to recognize. Rocks, apples, pencils, and plants are all examples of solid objects. A solid object has a definite shape that doesn't change when you move it or put it in a container. They also have a consistent mass and volume. This is because the atoms in a solid object are packed closely together, so they do not move around. A solid will change shape only if forced, for instance, if it is broken or smashed. If you look around, you can find many examples of solid objects. Liquid is the next state of matter. Liquids have a definite volume and mass, but they do not have a definite shape. The atoms in liquid are still close together, but unlike the atoms in a solid, they can move around. This allows the matter in a liquid to flow. Because liquids don't have their own shape, they take their shape from their containers. The same amount of liquid may look very different in a glass and spilled on the floor. You can find examples of liquids around you too. Water, milk, and juice are just some of the liquids you might find. The third state of matter is gas. Gases have a definite mass, but they do not have a definite shape or volume. Like liquids, gases take the shape of their containers. Unlike liquids, gases will spread out to completely fill the container they are in. If a gas is not in a container, it will keep spreading out indefinitely. This is because the atoms in a gas are farther apart than atoms in a solid or a liquid, and so they can move freely. The air you breathe is an example of a gas. You might have noticed that you can't really see air. Often, gases are invisible, but they are still there. There are many different types of gases in the Earth's atmosphere, like oxygen, nitrogen, carbon dioxide, helium, and water vapor. Sometimes matter can change from one state to another. Water is a very good example of this. When water is frozen into ice, it is a solid. When it melts back into water, it is a liquid. When water evaporates into water vapor, it becomes a gas. Matter in all its states is everywhere. See if you can find solids, liquids, and gases around you.
Okay, that's the video. Did you guys enjoy that?
It was okay.
All right. Did anyone, did you guys find it interesting, the information that it shared?
Yeah, it was pretty similar to what you told us, so.
Okay, that's good. I'm glad you guys liked seeing that. Now, to wrap things up, I'm going to ask you some questions about different, changes and the states, just so I can see how much you guys remember and how well you were following along. My first question is, when you're eating a popsicle and it melts, what kind of change is happening? Yes, Ethan.
Physical?
Yes, that's correct. Good job. Great job. When we chew our food and swallow, what happens? Yes, Ava.
It goes inside of our bellies.
Well, yes, but what kind of change happens?
It goes from outside of our mouth to inside of our bellies.
No, I mean, what kind of change happens? A physical change or a chemical change?
Oh, I don't know.
Okay. Does anyone else like to try answering the question? Yes, Jasmine.
Like, is it a physical change?
No, actually, it's a chemical change. See, what happens when we chew our food and we swallow it, we can't get it back. And it can't go back to the way it was. Because once we eat the food, it's gone and we can't get it back. So that's a chemical change.
What?
Yeah,
Okay.
it's a
That
chemical
doesn't
change.
make any sense.
Well, it is. It's a chemical change. Believe me, a chemical. Because remember what we talked about earlier. A chemical change is the kind of change where once something happens, you can't get it back to the way it was before. Whereas a physical change, you can change it back to what it was before.
How could I change my popsicle back into a popsicle when I'm eating it?
Well, that's a physical change because that's melting to liquid. Remember, when a solid melts, it becomes a liquid.
I guess I have to listen to you because you're the one with the slideshow. So,
Oh, yes.
all right, welcome back. Unfortunately, your time in the simulator has expired. Thank you so much, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.
Oh,
Bye bye.
thank you so much. Can I only have 3 more questions to ask them. They won't take long.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Your time in the simulator has expired. Thank you so much. Have a great rest of your day.
Thank you. All right. Thank you so much for this session. I appreciate it.